Hello everyone. Um, I'm the Myth OS developer, and I'm just gonna kind of put on a little demonstration here while I'm actually working on the initial campaign that I've been creating, um, that people can play. Although I'm planning to create a few more over the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping to have at least two fully done, maybe three by mid-June for the for the demo and for the Next Fest that's happening in June on Steam. But I'm just about done with one, so definitely there will be one, and I think definitely there'll be two campaigns fully done. So I just kind of wanted to show off the UI and the capabilities of the engine and everything while I'm finishing up this campaign, so that people can maybe get a good sense of what you're able to do in this game. And it's not just a game; it's called Myth OS because it's also kind of like I don't want to call it an operating system. That's maybe a little bit um, too grand, but it's kind of like an operating system, that allows you to create the game that you want to play, and it really supports a lot of different types of games, which is what's really special about this. All right, so here's the narrative log, and this is kind of like the initial prompt, and you can see like there's little images here. So as people talk, it'll grab an image of one of the characters and put it right in there, and it shows your character's image here. Okay, this is the character sheet for the sort of main character of this campaign. Now, you could technically just abandon this character and play the campaign any way you want, really. But at least as far as the initial setup here, I have this as the main character, and he is a reincarnated prince, meaning, the title of this is Isekai, so this guy here is actually from Earth, and something happened, he died, or some mysterious thing happened, and he ended up in this world as this former prince, but now about to be king because his father has died. So you can see here's the Lord of House Devios, and there's a lot of cool things here. You can see here this is the social network and relations, so it's going to show all of these things here now. I set up the initial stuff here, like I said, these people need to have a social relation with each other. Sets it up, but you don't have to do that, and it'll naturally develop relations with people over time as you interact with them and such, and it'll add it to here. It can go up or down, etc. But you could also manually do it. I've tried to make everything as editable and configurable as possible so that you can play as the game master, or at least correct what the AI is doing, because AI does make mistakes. Okay, so you got the lore here. This doesn't matter so much for the player character, but this would matter for NPCs and such, because they're going to have an ambition. They're going to have a grievance clock. If their loyalty to you and such has dropped enough, it'll start ticking down this clock to when they're kind of ready. Ticking down this clock to when they're kind of ready to bounce, to leave, to quit. So here's cool because this shows off the family relations, and it's going to have all the different relations here, which is really cool. So if you set it up and everything, or the AI sets it up, it's going to show you parents, it's going to show you spouse, your children, and other relatives if it's set up properly. Okay, so this shows you your social class and what organizations you're a part of, and there could be all different kinds of organizations. It doesn't have to be one, and it will show your primary one as well as any others that you're members of and what your rank is. I've set the rank level to 10 to be the highest, but that's something you can actually configure in the JSON And of course, loyalty doesn't matter for the player character, but for NPCs, loyalty would be important. These are my skills that I have right now, and as you can see here, these skills have cost. This is all set up by the AI and me guiding the AI and such. You could have passives, you could have damage, you could have buffs, debuffs, things that affect the narrative. Okay, it all depends on how you set things up. You can generate images for almost everything. And with these different settings, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. Okay. Well, this is a passive, so it doesn't really cost anything. It doesn't require any resource, meaning a stat resource. Okay, some kind of stat pool or something like mana or stamina or something like that. This does rely on a stat, wisdom, and these are all configurable. Even the stats are configurable. This is just a placeholder, just to give you an example of what you would put in here if you used it. And it's got these little things here, these tooltips, to kind of help you figure things out. Those are things I'm kind of adding and as I go along to try to make it as simple to understand as possible, since there is a lot of things to do. But I think I've done a relatively good job with the UI, and all of the different, there's all these different things to help you figure stuff out, which I'll show some of them. This here has an effect. So what does this do exactly? This is going to give me 1 to my wisdom. Okay. And this will help me, for narrative stuff, but those narrative things could have real world impact. So like, for example, if I use this might help me figure things out, or maybe come up with some new technologies or something like that. And here this requires stamina. I guess this would be used in battle. Like if I'm leading an army or something, I could do this and boost the morale of my troops. So morale is a real thing with armies. And this is just an attack, an ability. It's a little weak though, honestly, because I could just do a regular attack and do 1d8 plus 2 damage. So this is kind of weak. So let me beef this up a little. Since it requires stamina, let's go 1d12. This way, I can do up to 12 damage with this. It costs 3 stamina. It's not too bad. It's not too overkill. And this will use my strength to try to overcome AC again, all configurable. The range is only 1 here. Okay. Which means I have to be in the tile right next to the person to hit them. Sometimes the range is abstract because of the way the game is. It's hard to create a range. It works maybe like on a small tactical map where you're in a room or something, and each grid point is maybe a small distance. So if you have 5, the range is 5, and you hit 5 grid points away, it's not a big deal. But like if you're on a much larger map where each grid point is a mile, it would be ridiculous if you could hit from 5 miles away. I mean, unless it was some kind of tactical grand spell or something. So really, battle on large maps like that would take place in the tiles right next to each other, and it would kind of abstract if, like, you happen to meet while traveling on the world map, for example, and you met in that area and you're now fighting. So it won't really be as tactical because it's kind of a bit of that is abstracted. But at least if you're in a map, a small map, a dungeon, a field of some kind, a forest, whatever, and you're walking around, you're fighting monsters, then positioning and distance and all that stuff is going to matter. So, it's just, I had to do it this way because it's really, I don't want to say impossible, but it's very complicated. So you wouldn't really be able to do it any other way. I mean, and have the same kind of scope and scale that the game has. So I kind of had to come up with some things that are a little abstract, but you're not really going to be doing a lot of fighting on like a world map anyway, probably, you know. So most of the fighting you're gonna, unless it's armies and stuff. But then if it's armies, you know, armies fight over a big area anyway, so it doesn't really matter as much. Okay, and then here we got the this is the inventory. All right, so I set up, and this is configurable too. The currency is completely configurable, including denomination. You could have one, you could have credits, or dollars, or here, as you can see, we got four things: copper coins, silver coins, gold coins, platinum coins, and of course you can set colors for this, which is cool. And the backpack here, I don't know, maybe I should have these, like this has an image, so maybe I should also have the image display in here. Maybe make this a little bit bigger instead of like this. That might be cooler actually. But yeah, you can bring up this item. You can see this is leather armor. You can generate an image. It goes on the chest. And you can, and again, this you could write different things into here. There's different slots: head, chest, hands, offhand, legs, accessory, and you could also have multiple things. Like I have a royal tunic on right now, but I could also wear this armor over the royal tunic. I mean, why not, right? I mean, of course, this could, you know, you could kind of cheat with this, but you know, that's up to you. You really want to cheat, then you know you could cheat. So I can equip this, and now look, it says chest, and as you can see, my armor class has gone up. See, my AC has gone up. So I can wear this as well. And this also has damage resistance, which takes off of damage. So like if they did 6 damage to me, it would only be 5 because of this. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Alright. And also a scaling stat, so I'm going to put dex here. So now if I equip this, well, I guess my dex is +1. So it should be giving me a bonus. Let's see why it's not giving me a bonus. Maybe it's already giving me, maybe because I have both of these. Let's see. It is not giving me a bonus. Alright, it's supposed to give me a bonus. Oh, actually, is it? I guess it kind of is. Oh yeah, I guess it kind of is giving me it. Actually, it is giving me a bonus already, because this is 12 plus 1, 13. Yeah, so it is giving me the bonus. Okay, and this doesn't give me anything, but if I want, I could add another one. Let me see if that will. Yep, and that adds. I just got to unequip it and equip it. So now this gives me another 1 defense. Why not? I mean, it should, right? I guess, because it gives me a little bit more padding. So now my AC is 14. So 1, 12, 13 plus 1 dex, 14. Yeah, okay. And I could also add bonuses. Like, you could add bonuses to stuff. Like, maybe I want this ancient earth coin. I don't know why I have an ancient earth coin. That doesn't... I guess the AI thought it was interesting to make an ancient earth coin. I mean... First of all, I reincarnated, so I shouldn't have anything from Earth, but it doesn't make sense since from modern Earth to have an ancient Earth coin, which... But whatever, maybe... Let's just make it an ancient coin. For some reason I have this ancient coin. So I have an ancient coin, and I'm going to have this give me a stat. I don't know why. Maybe it's something special. I'm going to make it give me... Let's say wisdom. Wisdom. Gives me 1. Now I'm going to add it. And now, as you can see here, and I could also edit this. I could delete it also. So now this gives me 1 wisdom. So I go check here. Wisdom 12, 13. See, this is the... Alright. And these bonuses here also affect a bunch of stuff. These are the resources. These are your stat resources. And you could configure this. So you could add a new stat, attribute resource, add stat. Okay. And if I want the AI to understand what these things are, like it understands this, but if I were to create a whole bunch of these random stats and stuff that I want to use for some different system, I can say what the stats would be similar to. Like if I want to use mental, I could say, well, mental is sort of the same as intelligence and wisdom together, maybe. You know, and it would be able to understand that. Alright, so anyway, let's get out of here now. You've seen all that. I'm going to look at some organizations here, and all these images are you can generate. These are all different organizations I'm coming up with for my campaign. This is a tribe of beastkin, in this case different bearkin tribes. It's kind of like an anime, isekai thing, so I've included those. You can see this is the population. These are just some notable people, or beastkin people, this is the leader of these tribal, it's kind of like a tribal confederacy. He's a chieftain. This is just some bearkin guy. And this is a bearkin female shaman. You got the levels and everything. Okay. They don't have any diplomacy yet. Well, I'm just creating the campaign. I haven't set up any initial diplomacy stuff. You don't have to, because they will develop diplomacy over time as part of the game, but you could if you wanted to. I should give them some starting wealth. And this here actually, this is kind of cool. So this shows ambient production. Now, ambient production means it's not tied to any infrastructure. So I'm making the tribal people don't have any set infrastructure. They kind of wander around. They live in tents and things like that. Or so if you want to do something like that, or you want to simplify the economy, you can add ambient production. I'm just gonna do something here. And that's going to, okay, so this is going to update it, because this is what it's supposed to be producing here. So as you can see, it's based on the hour, and there's some calculations in the engine about how ambient production works, and you can configure it in the JSON. So I'm clicking on here. This is where you can put all kinds of rules and stuff in. Not everything's in here, because I only defaulted some things, but at any time you can add any of the configurable variables into here if you want to change them. If you don't care about the defaults, you're fine with the defaults, you don't need to do anything. The defaults are already set up. But if you do want to change things, you put it in here. And look here, there's different levels of ambient production. Okay, so staples, bulk, luxury, and they have different calculations. So if you want to set, and all of these are set up in my items, by the way. They're all actual items that you trade with, produce, etc. And you could also generate images for them. That's not done in here, but it saves the image in here. But you can generate images for all of these things, so that you can have cool, here, like I'll show you here. Well, this is the Ironhide territory, which they kind of live in, and they don't have any set settlements, but they do have one set area where they do trading. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to the market, and as you can see, I'm going to some things here do not have generated images, so I'm going to generate those images now, and I'm using Comfy UI, so it doesn't cost me anything to generate images. I can generate as many as I want. So I'm going to generate an image here. And you can do multiple images. It has a queue, so as it generates an image, it will go to the next one, and you can queue as many as you want. And you can still go and do things. As here, let's see, it came in. So we got furs. It's a bunch of heads. All right, so these are. This is just like a starting stockpile of stuff. So how does it produce ambient stuff? And it's really not that hard. All you have to do is, so you go to a location and you just type in produces, and then you say the names of the items. And you should set up all these items in the JSON. So as you can see here, all the stuff's here. It has a base value, and just so you know, the game has an economy, so values do change over time based on things that are happening. Okay, shortages, surpluses, wars, etc. All right, so as you can see, food is here. Food. Okay, so produces food, water, furs, whatever. And then in the production tab here, you can see it's all there. Okay, and assuming you set it up where people eat food, they do eat food. Well, it's by default that people eat food, and you could set up all different settings for different races, species, and all that kind of stuff. So, um, just here, look, see species stats. Why the AI added, because I was adding in different. I don't need to have coyotekin, beastkin, all that kind of stuff, because I just have beastkin as a race, so I don't need to have all these others. But the AI was trying to be helpful and put all these things in, which is cool. So I could just edit that. I'm just going to get rid of those because we don't need to have all of these different terms for these different beastkin, because I already have a beastkin, or I should. Where is it? Beastkin. Is it gone? Okay. All right, let me put it in then. I'm going to change this to beastkin, so it's in here. And the beastkin lifespan, that's way too short, so let's give it similar to humans, 80. And yes, you could set a lifespan so people can die of old age and all that kind of stuff. All right, reproduction rate, see, and yes, they have a reproduction rate or a replacement rate, so populations can grow, and their survival goods are basically food and water. So yes, let's update that. All right, so that's updated, and is it in here? It should be in here. Yep, it's in there. Okay, good. Because I just use beastkin to cover all of those different groups, so I don't need to see. It says here beastkin, and there's 150,000 of these bear people, bear kin. But yeah, you can. Where's the configuration here? Okay, ambient, and these production things here. See these? So you can set just a general curve. The higher this number, the greater the curve. 0.78 is the default. And you don't really need to touch that, but if you just want to do a curve for all of them right away, you can, but you don't really need to touch this one. These ones are better to touch because these ones will control each of these groups. So depending on how you select staple, 0.35. And if you want to increase the production, you higher this number. You want to decrease the production, you lower this number. And like I said, there's a whole calculation thing in the engine that takes care of it. You just set this number and you're good. And if you want to update it right away to see how that will affect the production, you would type in /refresh ambient, like this, _ambient. And you might be wondering, like, how would you know all these things? Well, there is an in-game wiki, a codex that explains everything. And you can search the entire codex, although the search is a little, searching the entire codex works perfectly. The Control F search to search the page doesn't always catch everything. But this works really well, and you can just type in ambient, and it'll bring all the pages that mention ambient. And you can click on those, and you can see, look, here's GM console commands. And it explains everything. Like, everything's explained in here. These are all different GM commands you can do to fix things and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And pretty much, I want to say, I've been actively updating this to make sure I get everything in here, but it pretty much explains everything in the game. Every variable, every feature, everything. I don't want to, I'm not going to say with 100% certainty I got everything, because I might have forgotten some things, but I think I've definitely hit over 90% of all the features and all the things in the game. So this is really useful. Also, the meta mode, which now you can just click this button here and you can type something in, say hello. I'm just going to click the meta button. And as you can see, it does /meta. You could also just type in /meta. But if you want to type, you hit the button. And you can talk to the meta mode, which cannot do anything other than talk to you. So no matter what you say to it, it won't change anything in your game. Okay? And you can ask it stuff. And as long as I put the instructions in for it, it can explain things to you. And it can look at all the different elements and explain what's going on or why something's happening. Again, it's not perfect because it really depends on what I've explained to it, like in the code. But it is very helpful, and those things can really help you figure out what's going on in the game. And this is the GM console, and this is for the game masters to, to change things in the game, to have the AI do stuff. It doesn't really talk to you. Its whole purpose is for doing stuff, doing actions, and it's very powerful, and it can affect pretty much every feature and system in the game. It creates things, so you don't have to use these create buttons if you don't want to. I don't even really use these buttons. You can. Okay, so and they're cool, and they do a lot of stuff too, and you could also use them to do manual mode here, which is useful because you can create sort of like a frame, like for characters or locations, whatever, and fill it in yourself, and it doesn't use any AI at all, so it's completely free to do that. But that will rely on you filling in all the stuff. And of course you could just create stuff and later have the AI just update everything. Like I can create 10 characters and highlight all the names of those characters just by going to the character sheet, the character list, and then just highlighting people's names. And you don't want to go too crazy though, because if you do too much, the AI can get confused. But you can highlight a bunch of people and type, say, update the descriptions for all these people, or add descriptions for all these people if there aren't any, or whatever, and it will do that. It's very powerful, very convenient, and it's been developed a lot, so it does a really good job. It's not perfect, obviously, because it's AI, but it does a really good job. And I've put in a lot of safety measures, a lot of healers to heal like the code, and I put a lot of work into it basically. So again, is it perfect? No, but it's definitely like 95% there, or definitely over 90% there. So it's really good. I mean, you might have to fix minor things here and there, but that's just the way AI is. So unfortunately, that's one of the things about AI. Okay, so anyway, let me get to creating some things here. So I'm setting up factions, and as you can see here, there's nothing in the research tab here because they don't do research. They don't build things. They're tribes, and not that I'm, saying bad things about tribal people or anything like that. I'm just saying in this game, in this like sort of medieval fantasy world, these beastkin people, they're nomads, and they're tribal, and they hunt, and they produce things, and they don't really build infrastructure and stuff like that. But the human factions do, and the dwarves and elves do to a degree. So I'll just show some of those to give an idea here. So there is an elven kingdom, and you can see here some elves, and this is their territory. They live under the shadow of the world tree. Typical anime sort of elf people. And they have a few settlements there and such, but let's go to the world tree region now. So this is the world tree and region, and this is a big lake. And if we want to look at it, actually this is the region of a continent. So there is a continent, and this is a region of the continent called Alathalusia, which is sort of the region where the elves live. So this is the region where the elves live here. And the center area here is the world tree region, and then there's got all these regions around here. And these regions, I set them up to be unknown, so you don't know what's there. Could be monsters, could be relics, ruins, who knows. But this here is where the elves live. Okay, and if I go up the map to the continent, this is the continent map. And these are different regions, and this is what I'm working on. So all the ones with pictures are already done. I just need to do 2 more regions here. The different colors are because of, there's a few things. These are rivers. And I just do them as like these colored blocks, basically, these colored zones. Okay, and then I make sure that those rivers also extend into the territories so that it's the geography is consistent and realistic as possible. You can see the river goes all the way up here and all that stuff. And this mountain, this is a mountain up here. This is also a mountain where the dwarves live, actually, in this mountain place here. And each region has all kinds of locations. So this is the main human region, the largest region where humans live, and where a bunch of city-states exist. But it's not the only human region. This is also a human region, and this is also a human/monster region. This is kind of like the north, so like the trope, the north is where sort of like Nordic type people live, or like, maybe Slavic, Eastern European, Russian, like kind of like that. Not really, but kind of like that. Those, in a medieval type of setting, sort of. And then in the west here is sort of like a, I don't want to say Mediterranean, but kind of like a Mediterranean type of climate. Okay. Obviously the elves live in this is a big forest. This here is sort of like a mountainous, hilly terrain. So it's got orcs, goblins, and then the dwarves live there also in the mountains. And this here is a savage land, so this is kind of like just a monster-infested place. And this is where the beastkin live, along with areas where monsters live. Okay, so let's look at this region here. I'm going to click on it, enter the tactical map. Now, you could like you can see, it's got an image, and it's cool when you generate these Vista images, they go onto the location like this. You don't have to do that. You could just leave it as a colored block, or you can leave it as a token. So there's a bunch of options you can do to set up, but I like to set it up in different ways. Like this is one of them. So all of these are territories. They're either unknown or they are settled, or at least settled by main factions. Okay. So this is the territory you start in. It's called the Anatar City-State. And there's about 15 or so other city-states. I might increase it a bit more because there's a lot of regions here, and a lot of them are unknown or unexplored. But I might want to add some more just to kind of get the population of the whole region up to make it a little bit more realistic, because right now it's about somewhere around 3 million people living in this region, and in the whole continent there's only like 7 or 8 million, so it's kind of small for a continent, population-wise, anyway. Maybe like 15 million is more realistic, although that still might be a little bit on the low side, but it's a little bit more realistic of a population size for an entire continent in this kind of type of setting, but whatever. So yeah, so let's look at this. This is Anatar City-State. I'm going to go in here, and as you can see here, this is the settlements that exist in this, and these are tokens now. They're not zone color blocks like this, like the rivers or like these. They're tokens, and you could actually change the size of these tokens, okay, if you want to. So this is Anatar, which is the capital, and this is a big city, and this and that. You can see it says here token size 3, and I can change the size of this token. See, now it's 1, 3, and I can make it bigger if you really want to show off how big and how much space it takes up and this and that. You can do that. That's up to you. Okay. The reason why I have tokens and zones is mainly because of size. So to kind of give a scale or whatever to things. So, for example, this Anatar city-state, if I look at the grid size, it's only 18 by 16. Okay, so if I didn't create this sort of token / zone type thing, technically Anatar would not fit in this box because it's 40 by 40. But because it is a token, it only actually takes up 3 by 3 spaces. However, if I go inside of Anatar, it will be 40 by 40. Okay, and then I can lay out the whole city, and these are all the different infrastructure buildings and such in the town. And if there were people walking around the town, you would actually see little tokens of people. So just to kind of show you what that looks like, I'm going to go inside the palace, and these are rooms. Okay, this is all stuff you can set up, and I'm going to go in the council chambers because that's where I currently am, see, with my council. So I'm going to go in here, and you can generate images for these tactical maps too. Okay, so like the cities and stuff, I don't tend to do that. I could, but rooms and stuff I will. So like this here is, as you can see, there's an entrance. This town has an entrance too. So that means people have to travel to the entrance to leave. As you can see, these are all the tokens of all the characters with the images on them. If there's no images, then it just shows like a little symbol, or depending on what it is, a symbol or a letter. Okay, and actually these tokens will move as time goes by. They do move, and of course if they're going somewhere, they have to travel there, and the tokens will move over time. But you don't see any movement unless an hour passes. So every hour it moves people and such like that. Okay. And these are like they're supposed to represent, like, I mean, this is kind of an abstract thing, but it could represent roads, it could represent trade lines, it depends. It's really an abstract thing, but it basically there, it's just showing a visual, like, sort of connector. Okay, I mean, how you want to think of that connector is up to you. This brown zone is actually a road infrastructure. I just did it for visuals. Like, you could be a token and just plop it in the middle and just pretend the roads go all over the place. Or like for me, I just kind of like to make it a little bit more visual, so I made it like this. And of course the river, these are rivers, and as you can see, like the shipyards on the river, the fisheries on the river. Okay. Now the AI does an okay job putting these like tokens in maps and stuff, but you're definitely going to probably have to manually adjust, like if you really want to, you know, like this fishery might not have been on this river, or could be, or might be in the middle of it. You might want to move it to the side, or because the tokens might be different size. Right now they're 2, but they start out as 3, so they might be different locations and such. Well, whatever, it's up to you. You might want to put the palace in the center, whatever you want to do. You can kind of set that up. All right, these are all the different infrastructure, and as you can see, this is all the production from all the infrastructure. We got inputs, we got outputs. This is what I need to put in, this is what I need to take out. This is the Elven stuff, actually. This is the elves, so they have some special buildings and stuff. This is what they can research, and you can configure these to limit, like here, like they learn some unique stuff like Elven cavalry tactics, which unlock their fairy stag mounts, and they can do Elven sword dancer training. Humans don't get that kind of technology, so, and again, you can configure all of that and limit what you want in the JSON, and you can tell the AI to do it, or you can do it manually. I'll show you the difference of the human tech tree, and I don't have a lot of stuff in here right now, but so this is the human tech tree. So as you can see, they have mining techniques and things like that. The elves don't do mining. They only do, I don't know, forestry stuff. They get somehow all their resources from trees. And of course they can also trade for stuff. All right, and you can see the research. This is not This needs to be updated. Like when the hourly tick happens, the economic tick like happens every hour. It also updates this stuff because a lot of this stuff won't work because I don't have the resources needed. So, like for example, the Arcane Academy requires it needs 2 books an hour, 1 gem an hour, and 4 paper/parchment an hour. But I don't actually produce any of this stuff, so it's going to shut off, and I'm going to lose that research bonus until I can get those resources. And I could get those resources by trading with other factions or whatever, or I can build a building that produces them over time and be able to do that. So things will shut down and they won't work if you can't provide the inputs. And of course, you set this up. You don't have to have inputs. You don't have to have outputs. If you want them, you can do it. If you don't have to. These are all my settlements that have markets. And again, a market is something you can set up. So if you want to have a building that's a market and have its own market, you can do that. In my case, I set up only settlements to have a market, and that's where you can buy and sell goods, resources, things like that. This is the initial stock that I set it up with. And when you produce things, it'll go into the stock. If things require inputs, it'll come out of the stock. And the people also use items, so it does have in the engine, it does have something that takes. People use stuff, so things get used or disappear, Okay, and prices will fluctuate and all that kind of stuff too. There's nothing in here right now because it hasn't done the hourly tick yet, but it will show all your expenses and all your revenue. How much you're making, how much you're not making per hour, eventually, once it does that. I don't have any agendas going on, but if I did, they'd be in here. And I could also I can create an agenda, which is kind of cool. Agendas are things that your faction is doing. You could be constructing something, you could be doing research, you could be exploring. Whatever you're doing as a faction is an agenda. And how many agendas you can do depends on your tier. So I set it up as tier 1 to tier 10, and that's really representing your power and influence as an organization. So the more tiers you have, the more things you're capable to do at this, simultaneously, and the more influence maybe you have as whatever kind of organization you are. This ledger will show all the maintenance costs for all your buildings once it calculates it at the hourly tick. And you can adjust the settings for all of that, like how much you want maintenance to be as a percentage, how much you want your taxes to be, how much you want everything to be. I've tried to put everything in there, like even all of this stuff is configurable. You decide how many research points does it require, how long should a building take to build, all that kind of stuff. And power also affects that too, because the higher power you have, the faster you can do agendas, basically. Like it gives you a bonus. So it represents sort of like how efficient and how powerful your faction is, and what you can do as a faction. And also other factions can take that into consideration. This has to do with your ability to do espionage. This is your ability to defend against espionage and stuff like that. And of course, unrest, has to do with how happy or unhappy your people are, and things will happen if your unrest drops. Like it will affect your ability to do agendas. Like if your unrest is 100%, you basically won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to construct. I mean, it'll still have a little tiny bit, but it'll take forever to build things. You'll have to do something. So stability is important. These are all my people that are in my organization, And you can recruit people, you can lose people, people can betray you, they can sabotage you, etc. I don't have any vassal stuff set up for this campaign, but you could make someone your vassal and it'll be here. And vassals have to pay taxes and all that kind of stuff. And there's also diplomacy and stuff with factions. I mean, with vassals, they can also betray you. They can also try to start a rebellion. All that kind of stuff is in here. Policies are a little bit different from agendas. Policies are more like things you do to, how do I, kind of like laws, like, or like I want to increase, I want to do like a grand games, and that will maybe give a bonus to stability and lower unrest and things like that. Or I want to, do some kind of conscription thing, or I don't know, whatever. I want to increase production or growth or population growth or something like that. You can put in policies here. You can write in something as a policy, and I mean, it's not like it's infinite, everything's going to work, but like there are certain things that the AI will do based on what kind of policy you decide to do, and that's all based on what I code. So I could add more things over time as well, but all different kinds of bonuses and things like that. All right, so let me get back to sort of creating, because I think I've talked enough. So let's go to this northern region, which shouldn't be too hard to finish. So I do want to finish this campaign. Alright, so this is the sort of cold north, and as you can see, I already generated images for all these because these are monster regions that no people live in. So now I'm going to kind of set up these regions here, and these regions are not going to have a lot of people. It's cold, it's dangerous. I still got to give them a good amount though, but they're not going to have as populous as like this. Like, the city-states have 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people living in each city-state. These are going to be like 150,000 people living in these, I guess, similar to city-states. So I'm just going to change these to territory because they are not unknown, or at least there's a country there of some kind. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's 5 of these. 5. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to change those to territory. I mean, that's just flavor stuff. I mean, I put it in like my game laws that an unknown territory is something you don't know anything about, and yada yada. So I'm just changing it to territory, and that stuff. It's not just flavor. It does actually have something to do with this context LOD here, which you can configure, and this helps the AI in a few ways, and it also controls the context, some of the context, right? So this kind of gives the AI an idea of like, well, if it creates a region, this is the scale and such that it should be. Whatever you put in here, it'll be something around there at least. It gives a general idea. And then these here, these numbers are for context. So high L stands for high detail locations, high detail characters. Low detail locations, low detail characters. Okay. Obviously, high detail requires much more context than low detail. You don't need to have these numbers very high, and it's a waste to have these numbers very high, because I already put in so many systems in place. There are so many different supporting systems for context in place. I got really creative with it. I think I did a really good job. A game like this, it's not like, and I don't want to like name any names of other games, but there are some games out there that can do some of the stuff that MythOS can do. I mean, the predecessors, the ones that came before, but they're very simplistic in a lot of ways. They don't use a lot of context. You don't need a powerful model, AI model to use to play those games. And it's very limited what they can do, and there's a lot of like issues with forgetting and hallucinating. Well, not, obviously with AI, these are issues, but what's awesome about this game is that there are so many ways to ground the AI that I coded in, that I came up with all these creative systems to ground the AI, to provide it with information. Is it perfect? No, but it's way better than anything else out there. So all of this stuff helps. But I also have a cache system, and I think that's really one of the highlights of what I've done is setting up the cache. So a lot of stuff gets cached. What that means is it's saved, and as long as it doesn't change, it saves it and it reuses it, and it decreases the costs for you exponentially. Like it's a massive cost saver. So it might seem scary when you're seeing like 100K tokens, 150K tokens. But if you look, and you'll see that, well, out of that 150K tokens, 90K or 100K are cached. And that's like awesome, because what that means is you're saving, depending on what model you're using and what service you're using, you're saving 75, 80, 85, 90% of the cost on all of those tokens that are cached. And you're only paying the full price on the tokens that are not cached. So let's say 100K tokens are cached, and you're using Gemini, you're only paying you're saving like 90% of the cost of that 100K tokens. So you're paying a little tiny bit, and you're only paying the full price on the 50K tokens that are over that. So some of the things that get cached are, and these are things you can configure. You don't have to use these, but here, global AI roster. And what this is a global roster of the name of every single character, the name of every single location, the name of every single organization in the game. It doesn't do items or skills and stuff like that, because that's not necessary, right? And the reason for that is so that at least the AI knows that there is someone with this name. There is a location with this name. That alone grounds the AI so much. So that's just one of the methods. So that's one of the things, right? Okay. And then of course, whatever room you're in, like where you are, like your character is physically, everybody in that area is in high definition. So it will never hallucinate who's with you in the room. And then there's also this faction stuff. So this is completely different from this stuff. This is all based on distance too. Like this stuff is, but this stuff also, well, we'll say like, well, in a river, I want to know at least two things that have the river context hierarchy. So here, like this is a context. I'm going to change this to river. Okay. So that this now falls under river. So there's at least two rivers that are in low context. And you might be wondering, well, what is low context? Because you already said you have a global list. Well, low context is not just the name. So there's three levels of context. You got high, low, lesser. Lesser is what's in the global list. It's just literally the name and the ID. That's it. Low context has basic information. It's got the name, and then it's got some basic stuff. The coordinates. I think actually the coordinates might be part of lesser. So it's got some basic information that gives the AI just enough, okay, to sort of get a feel for it. And then high context gives it like all the information. I've also compacted a lot of this information and set up various keys in the code for the AI to read, like a legends, almost like a map, so that it can read compact information but still get all the information. There's a lot of fancy techniques I used to try to get the context as good as possible, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, this is a river. Let me just delete that. This is a river. Whatever. So as I was saying, this controls the context. You don't really need to have things in high context unless you really want to. These are for organizations. So I want to have at least 2 organizations in high context. And it's going to do the ones that are close to me. It's going to do the ones that are close to me. Like my organization will be always in high context. So this will be 2 other ones. And then I want 3 in low context in addition to that. So there's a total of 5 at least in sort of either high or low context. You can change these numbers. And then there's this faction rotation percentage, which is really cool. Because every in-game day, every time a day passes in the game, assuming you're doing, you're playing normally and hours are going by, days are going by normally, you're not doing like a big time skip because there's all these different rules for time skips. But basically when a day passes, it does a simulation in the background. It has nothing to do with the AI. Well, I shouldn't say it has nothing to do with the AI. It's a combination of the AI and the engine working together. And so what this means is it'll look at an additional 5% of all the organizations, and you could change this number. And it will set a plan for them if they have no plan. And it will cycle through all of them over time. So, by the time 30 days pass, it should have probably looked at every single organization in your game and gave it a plan. Okay? And gave it a plan. What that plan could be to build something, to do some research, and of course you're going to set time and stuff. So like if you're doing things realistically, you're not going to be able to research something in a month anyway, because research doesn't normally go that fast. So things are happening in the background over time, and the AI has a chance to look at all these different things, and when it looks at this faction, it can see a bunch of information about the faction and who's in the faction. Then you also got the spotlight feature here, and this spotlight feature allows for important people to be in context or points of interest. So I got it set to 5 right now. So like if there's any important people that the AI feels like it should focus on, I'm letting it focus on that. This is the depth of the history. You have this chronicles, history of, and this will fill up over time. Important stuff, or this world inspector news pops up here. That stuff's the history, and this tells me it can have up to 20 messages of history in context at any given time, or I can lower that. Right? This is the global chronicle. So this is it's kind of the same thing, but it could be a little bit different. Global Chronicle is really this thing here, but they're related. However, there are some things that might be in here that's not in the other thing, but then there's a lot of things that might be in both. So you could probably lower one of these. Okay. This is for the timelines. This is every entity has a timeline, and this is more about kind of what they're experiencing as time goes on. You could put something in here, the AI could put stuff in there, and then you could say how much of that you want to be in context. All of this stuff is going to cost more context, so you want to be mindful of all of that. Okay, AI Notes is the AI note sheet that it uses to keep notes on things that are going on. It's another way to keep it grounded. Okay. So, and you could add notes in here. So under the player notes section, you could add notes in here that you want the AI to remember, or the AI will write stuff up here. And you could set how many words you allow them to use for that. This is the chat history. This means the narrative log. How many turns do you want the AI to remember? How many words you want the AI to be able to, all this stuff is configurable. If you want factions to be allowed, if you check this off, then it will create these factions. There's 3 different types of factions. And you could turn them off or on, whatever you want. Okay, so all this stuff can be configured. So just kind of back to this, so I'm going to say, all right, let's focus on this one first. And again, I like to use the GM to do everything, but that's up to you. And I'm going to say Valheimer is a human territory. Just update the description and tags to represent that. I will give you further instructions later. Don't do anything else yet. Just fill in the description for what this territory should be like. Be mindful of the geography of the territory as well as the region, Conus Peaks. And the reason why I'm writing the name of things in here is because, and you want to make sure you spell it right, that when you type the name of something, there's a feature in the game that gives the AI the information about that. So that's another way to get context in there. So if you mention something by name, it gives the AI a high detailed information about that place or that person or whatever. This way, the AI should always know what you're talking about. Peaks. Let's do that first. And let's see what happens here. Then I'm going to set up the organization. So I'll just name it out. We're going to set the Valheimer Kingdom. Kind of making this like a sort of like a Viking theme. See, look, I already know. So, what were Viking kingdoms or nations or whatever called? Just so I get the name right. I don't know, just getting ideas. Let's see. Realms, lands, districts. Yeah, that would be in the later sense. But I'm talking like even before, like smaller Viking city states or something. For some reason, it's like not. I should know this, but. I really should know this, but whatever. Let's just call them. Should I just call them cities, city-states? All right, we'll just call them city-states. Whatever. So the first one will be Valheimer city-state. So we are going to create a new organization. Should I call them houses? I've been calling the other ones houses, but I kind of wanted to give it a little bit of a different theme. Let me see. I can't remember how to spell these things. Let's see if it gives me any ideas. I'm just gathering ideas, you know. This helps me think, and I just want to show you guys too, because you can see like. No, he got confused. So I am not talking about renaming House Devios. I mean, for this new nation, I am going to put in Valheimer. And see, these are also links, so you can click on the different stuff. Alright, so Vocal Valheimer, Clan. Oh, Clan. Valheimer Clan? No, Clan Valheimer? Oh, that might work. Yeah, I'll do that then. So, create the organization, Clan Valheimer, and create a city, I guess. A city a capital city in Valheimer called, what kind of name should we call this? Did I just call it the same name? Did I just call it Valheimer? Everything's Valheimer? Okay, capital city in Valheimer. No, give it a Nordic inspired name. Give it a Nordic inspired name. And set the population. This is important that you set population for a location because the organization will have the population of its locations. And we're just going to make them human, so we're not going to do anything crazy with that. So we'll give it Nordic inspired name. Set the population to, I'm going to set it to 100,000, 125,000. It's meant to represent not only just that city, but also the surrounding region, but we also will want to have other settlements too. So let's set it to like 125,000, and then maybe we can create 2 other settlements with like 10,000 each or something. So this kind of represents a sort of, like a not a densely populated region. So, yeah, more like, I don't want to say rural, but it does have some densely populated areas and some not so densely populated. But the territory itself will be, sparse, basically, which I think represents this region well. So we'll give it a Nordic inspired name, set 125,000, create 2 additional settlements with 10,000 each that are villages with Nordic inspired names. So in Valheimer, and give ownership to them and the territory of Valheimer to Clan Valheimer. Do not create, also create in the capital city the hold or residence of the chieftain of Clan Valheimer, and also create the clan leader / chieftain, and his surname should be Valheimer. Don't do anything else. You don't have to do anything else right now. We'll do it in steps so we get everything. We're just waiting. We could also abort if we wanted to. We don't want to do that though. It's pretty fast though for what it does. Right now it's actually creating a lot of things. It's creating 3 settlements, an organization, and a character with all his items and skills. It also has to set up the organization properly, giving it all of the components that it needs. It also has to give all the components to the, not all the components, but it's got to give certain components to the characters and the locations as well. So it's actually doing a lot of things in the background right now. And if you look over here, it says 157k tokens, and that this is the cached. 122k of those tokens are cached, so that's huge savings. I'm using Gemini 2.5 Flash, which is a lot cheaper than 3.1. It's not as it works really well, so I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm doing it through Google directly. I'm not using OpenRouter or anything like that, and It's just faster. It's faster, and they have a certain type of caching, which um, I want to say is superior to the way that OpenAI and such cache. It's a little different. And they do charge you for caching, but they only charge, a certain, I think they charge like for example, it's caching 122K. So that means it's charging me about 12 cents for 1 hour to keep that cache. Of course, if you break the cache, it's going to charge you again. So you don't want to break the cache too much. I mean, when you're normally playing, you're really not going to break the cache. You're only really breaking the cache when you start editing the rules and updating the global roster list. Things like that will break the cache. But if you kind of, if you just spend the time setting up your game in the beginning, and then once you're done setting it up and you're ready to play, you pretty much never have to worry about breaking the cache. Of course, if you use OpenRouter or whatever, they have a different caching system, and you don't have to pay to cache, but they also don't give the same savings. I think with Google, it's like 90% savings on the cached content. Anyway, it actually created more than what I told it to do, and the reason it did that is because I have in my game laws a bunch of rules and stuff, so it was actually following. That's my fault. It's not the AI's fault, but whatever. That's fine. Let's take a look at what it did. So I'm gonna look at that organization, Clan Valheimer, and led by Bjorn Valheimer. And it set the power way too high. It's not supposed to do that, but whatever. We'll edit that, and we're going to set the power to 200. Oops. 200. It's only supposed to go up to like 5,000. Well, it does say 5,000 plus, but it's not supposed to be like ridiculous, but whatever. It's fine. When you first set it up, you might need to do a little editing. As you can see here, it mentions in the Draconis Peaks, it mentions in Valleys of Valheimer. It's got all that info, which is cool. We're going to make it a tier 2 organization, and it's got the population right, so that's good. And see, look, it created all these other people. I didn't want it to do that, but it created I went ahead and created all the infrastructure too. And now it's also, I have it on auto create images, so it's probably generating a bunch of images right now too. Yeah, because look, I have auto generate, so now it's like generating the images for everything now. See, look, some of them are starting to pop up. So it's actually in the background right now generating an image for all of these things. I didn't actually want it to do all this, but because I had the instructions and game laws, it ended up creating all of these infrastructure. But I guess that's okay, because now I don't have to do it again. I don't have to waste another turn doing it. But the reason why I like to do it in steps is so it'll make less mistakes. I mean, it did a really good job, as you can see here. I'm sure there might be some mistakes, so I'll go through these, but as you can see, it created dozens and dozens of things. So not only did it create all these locations, but it created all these people, and it created all their equipment and all their skills, or it assigned them existing skills, and it filled in all this information, like their age, their level. It even leveled them up, like it leveled them up properly. No, it didn't level him up properly. Exactly, it didn't do the stats up here. It did these stats, but not these. So as you can see, it does make some mistakes. This ghost stuff is nothing to be worried about. It's kind of an intended feature. It's sort of a safeguard, and you get rid of them by just clicking on them. The reason why they pop up is because sometimes, especially when you're creating a lot of stuff, and the skills and stuff, sometimes it creates ghost one. Like, it creates the actual skill, but it'll also create a ghost. It's just an annoying thing. So anyway, you just get rid of them, and you're good. I mean, even if you left them there, it's not going to do anything, so it's fine. So it did a pretty good job. It created all these items, Oh, okay, see, this is not supposed to be a chest, though. I don't know why I gave that as a chest, so, but it doesn't matter. I could just go accessory, change that. It's now an accessory. It doesn't really matter, but it's a gauntlet, so it really should have gone on the hands, actually. I don't know why. It's a little tricky with the equipment stuff. So it might be in the wrong slot, but it's not a big deal. This will give you the bonuses and stuff. You can just change it. So now it's been changed. So he's got this chainmail. It's owned by Steppen. His name is Steppen Ironhand. Other than the stats not being done correctly, everything else is set up. So I would say that's a pretty good success. So, and I'm gonna fix the level stuff. So it's not a big deal, and I could do that in one shot. So let's just look through everyone and see what we got here. And did it do that for everyone? It did. It didn't really set up. Why did this one created? Well, the only annoying thing that happens sometimes is it creates. It's not supposed to do this, but it sometimes creates a duplicate item. And it grabs someone else's item. It's not supposed to do that, but it does do that sometimes, and that's the only real painful thing that really annoys me. I've been trying to fix it, and it's just really being difficult. So I'll have to go through these characters and just check all their items and stuff. And their social status also needs to be fixed. It's okay though. I can do that all in one shot. Yeah, it didn't do a good job with the stats, but again, I can fix those, and also the items need to be fixed, but everything else is done perfectly. So I'm just going to get rid of all this ghost stuff. Again, that usually only happens when I'm doing a lot in one shot, and those are things you could easily fix and get rid of. So they're not big issues. The biggest issue is the item thing, but again, I can fix it. So it's not really that serious. I'm just getting rid of all these first, and then I got to go through all the characters and make sure all their items are okay. I wonder, you know what, let me try something here. Some of these characters have items that belong to other people. Can you remove them from the characters? Can you remove them from the wrong characters and make sure they stay on the right characters? Check the ownership of the items. Let's see if it does it correctly. And I'm just going to list all the names. I've copy and pasted the names, and let's try that. All right, it's got a lot of successes. Let's look. Excellent. All right, excellent. Yep, ooh, this one was a person, but we got a lot of wrong stuff. Let's check. Alright, well that fixed everything. That wasn't so bad at all. Excellent. So I'm glad that the code and fixes and peelers and all that kind of stuff that I've coded are working perfectly. Awesome. So that's done. The next thing is we need to change all their social classes. All these guys should be nobles. Okay. So, oh, it actually made it a wife and everything. Okay, because I set that up in the game once, but it did not set. All right, so it didn't fully set it up, but that's okay. I can fix that easily. So I just go here, I grab this guy's ID like this, copy, and then I go back to her. I go to here. I could also tell the AI to do it, but I'm just going to do it, and that's it. Now it's set up. So she's got her husband, and her children are set up correctly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the social status of all these people to noble. Also, they all belong to the same clan, so please set their social relations with each other. Let's do that first, so that does it. So with this GM console, you can really do things quickly. Like, I don't have to really do that much with this. I just tell the AI to fix the problems, and it'll fix it. The only thing with that is obviously it takes time. It takes a bit of time, but once, like, I'm a little OCD, so I'm kind of really making sure everything is perfect, and I'm also setting up a whole, like, it's not a whole world, but it's kind of like a whole world, right? The whole continent, all these different countries, and it takes time to set all that up. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. And if you don't want to play a game that's got countries and all that, that's also fine. You don't have to. How you play the game is up to you. You could just do a quick story. You could just do a quick, campaign, quick game, like start a new world, set up a quick game, and just play and see the world unfold before you. And just play it as an RPG. Just play it as a story game, whatever you want. So I'm just gonna check. All right, so all this stuff is set up, okay. And now the only thing left to fix for these people is their stats, which are definitely not correct. They will have. It did update their resources correctly, but it did not update their attributes correctly. So I need to fix that. So what I'm going to do is, when leveling the following people, you successfully gave them the correct level and the correct resource stats, but you did not give them the correct attribute stats. Currently, they have their level 1 attribute stats. So I need you to give them the attributes they should have. Now this might not work, and I might, not because any problem with the AI, but because of some of the code that I put in about leveling, because there's a whole system for that. So it may or may not work like this. If not, that's okay. All I have to do is put them back to level 1 and then re-level them, and it'll be perfect. But I'm just checking their levels. All right, she's level 3. She needs a better picture. It's level 5. Okay, he's got the wrong age. He should be much younger. 24. And she's probably got to be older. It doesn't always get the ages right, unfortunately. So I can make her a little bit younger. They have kids young. So she'll be 40. Her son's 24. So she looks a little bit young, but whatever. I can change that if I want to, but no, I won't. It's anime, so they always look younger when they're anime characters. This dude is 49. Okay, that's fine. I can make him a little bit younger. Like 45. I could just type in the, this or whatever. So he's level 9. He's pretty high level. He's pretty strong. But they fight monsters a lot, so Sometimes the images come in blurry. That's just, I'm using Kung Fu UI. It just happens. I'm just going to generate another image, and eventually it'll come out well. A lot of these people love 7 and 8, which is fine, I guess. They fight mount. Oh, there's something wrong with my images. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's working. I don't know why I got that message. That's not the game thing, that's the Comfy UI. Alright, so it said it did a bunch of stuff. I don't know if it actually did it though, so let's check. And she's on a low level. She's level 5, so this is probably right then, because let me see. 4, no, it should probably be higher than that. Let me check. It may not have been. No, his stats are right, so he's good. Okay, let me check. He's level 9. Oh, he's level 9? Jeez. He's pretty strong. He's too young to be level 9, I think, but that's just my own thing. Like I set up, like, at certain ages, she should not be 30. I'm going to probably change their levels, because the way I have this world is the younger, it takes time to, like, level up, and people who are younger generally aren't high level unless they're really skilled or geniuses or something. It always makes court mages as women for some reason. I have to, like, specifically specify man for court mage if I wanted to make a man, because every time I make the characters, always it makes the court mage a woman. There must be some kind of bias with the AI training with women and magic or something. I don't know. I mean, not that I'm saying women can't be mages. I'm just saying that, like, every single time, unless I specify I want a male mage, it makes a female mage. And of course, with Commander, it always makes a male. So I don't know. There must be some kind of bias with how the AI is trained. The images are coming out good. This guy should be older, though. Alright, I'll have to work on the ages, maybe. I mean, it's not a big deal. You could just change it, but it's really not good with that, with setting good ages. But whatever. That's not a big deal. Alright, so Eric should be level 5. And Thora, who's going to be younger, she's going to be 20. He's 24. Okay, so she's going to be level 4. So let's see. So set Eric Valheimer and Thora Valheimer to level 1. Reset their level. So reset their level. Reset stats. It did a good job, though. After I told it to re-level, it did successfully do the stats. So I'm happy about that. This guy's only level 7. His stats are pretty low for level 7, but I guess I did most of them. Let me give this guy, what is he? He's the steward, so he should have more charisma as a steward. So I'm just gonna manually give him the points. Let's give him a little bit more calm. So 6, 10, 15, 17. Give him one more point in something. Let's give him a little bit more wisdom. Okay. Well, whatever. I mean, I have leveling rules, so that's why I'm just trying to follow my own leveling rules, which you can configure. But as you can see here, you can fill in, it's got defaults in here, but you can fill in, see if I can make this bigger. You can fill in all this with whatever you want, and it's pretty cool because you can create your leveling system in here. So I'm just trying to follow it. It's supposed to get 3 stat points per level. So he went up 6 levels, that's 18 stat points. So I was trying to give him 18 stat points. Which also means I should probably give him more health, since he should have gotten 1 more. So I can give him like 26 health. And he's done. So otherwise, he's all good. Awesome. He's set up. And this dude is fine. I don't know why he doesn't have a picture, so let's generate an image. And is this a woman? Yes, okay. Okay. Everything else is good. I'm pretty happy with that. Like I don't know if, I mean, maybe you guys do realize, but she should not be an elf. Why is she an elf? Human. Let me just add that. This is an override box, by the way, and you can do some cool stuff with that. Alright, Sienna Shadowfoot. Alright, she's a master spy miss. I'm gonna make her a little bit older. Make her 35. She's 37. Okay. Oh, what was I saying? Oh yeah. You might not realize, but like, that's a huge success what it just did. It's a huge success. Even though there's some minor issues here and there, like for the AI to be able to pump out what it just did is phenomenal. Without too many, you know, with barely any mistakes. So I'm really, really happy with that. And what's cool is that with all of this that's going on, you're going to be able to see a lot of cool stuff when you play the game. Alright, so ranks are all good. So now I just need to re-level these two. So otherwise, everything is pretty much set up. I just got to make sure. Okay, level Eric Valheimer up to level 5, and Thora Valheimer up to level 4. And as you can see, what's really cool is it follows the leveling rules, which is just awesome. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to check. Oh, it's already done. So let's see. Level 5. Check the stats, and yep, everything is now good. He's all set up. He got some new skills, or they reassigned skills. So that's why that happened. No big deal. He's good. What weapon does he have? He's got a steel longsword. Oh. Should be using the longsword and not this. I don't know why it's supposed to use the most powerful weapon, but it's not. That's weird. Oh, maybe because I put that's got hand in it. Let's make it the main weapon. That didn't change anything for some reason. I'm going to unequip that because that's messing up. Alright, that's something I'll have to look at then. I shouldn't be doing that, but main weapon. It's supposed to have whatever is the highest weapon that you have. I haven't put dual wielding in yet or anything like that, so that's something maybe in the future. It's supposed to go for the best weapon. I don't know why it's... Oh wait. Oh, maybe because his dex is so high? Oh, I didn't even think of that. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's outsmarting me. Oh, alright, it's because it's 1d8 plus 1. That's still a little bit higher, but actually 1d4 plus 4 is pretty good. Let me see. If I change this to strength, what's going to happen? Oh, I went to the... Oh, okay. Never mind, it is working. I mean, even though this is slightly higher, I guess it went with this one because overall it might actually be more damage, because even though this is 1d8 plus 1, it can technically go to 9. It could also be 2, whereas the dagger will no matter what be at least 5. So I guess the range is higher. Oh, okay. It's actually working. I got confused for a second, but it's working. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Awesome. All set up. Look at that. It's amazing. All set up. Everything's good. Okay. You see the bow. Dex. So I guess she has no dex. She has no dex. Come on, Dora. Maybe you gotta switch your weapon. Alright, so this is all set up. This is all looking good. Population's good. I just need to generate the images here. Let's give them some starting money. Production's all set up correctly. Okay. We just need to give them a market ledger. So this is empty because we did not give them any of their settlements a market ledger. So we're going to do that now. A market ledger is just a component that marks that location as a market, and that means goods will accumulate there and can be bought and sold there. So I'm just going to set those up, and then it'll show up in the logistics tab, as you can see here, and it sets it up with a basic thing here. Now, I do have some code in there to automatically give market ledgers to certain locations that have people living in them, and etc. As you play and stuff, so there is something there for that. But we also want to give them. Oh, see, it already set them up. See, because I put in the game laws to give them starting tag and all this. It already set it all up because it was looking at other organizations too, probably to see how they were set up. So as you can see, it gave them this whole first tier of research, and now they can start researching this other stuff. Oh, look at that. The Chieftain Hall gives +5 RP. Huh. I wonder where that came from. I must have put something in there. And I'm just going to... Now, for these things, I do want to do some changes to these. So something... And this is just flavor stuff or things... how you want to set it up. So I'm just going to highlight all of this stuff. And... Well, they even got a fishery. Is there? I guess the river is in here. Yeah, look at that. This is cool because it takes geography into account, as you can see. Yeah, so I'm just going to highlight all this stuff here. So these are all the infrastructure that's not a settlement. And I'm going to say the following list of locations. Please set context hierarchy to building, which is the way I like it. Tile scale to 1, unit to M for meters, and token size to 2. This is going to set up the token and all that, like this stuff in here. So as you can see, it's token size 3. I'm not changing the width or height. The tile scale and unit I'm changing. And also the context hierarchy, because it says village right now. It's not a village. So I want to change everything in one shot. So I'm just going to do this, and bam, and it's going to change all of those things for me. And then all I have to do is go onto the maps and just make sure the locations are the way I like it for all of the different buildings. And also I also have to edit the entrances. The entrances don't show up here because they're not intended to show up here. So you might want to adjust it. I need to kind of work a little bit on the entrances to make sure that they're not placed outside the map, because they tend to get placed outside the map. That's just something I need to fix. So while it's doing, see, look at that, it's updating. See, all building. It's going to get to the other one. It's still working on it. So, but it is doing it. And again, I want to. Got to stress more, like how amazing it is that it's able to do all this stuff without messing everything up crazy. It was a lot of work, a lot of coding, a lot of work, a lot of creative ideas to get it to that point where it could do this. A lot of testing, a lot of frustration, a lot of almost wanting to give up. Because, this is my first game. I mean, I'm a teacher, okay? So I'm kind of doing this as a hobby. not really a hobby. I mean, I want to do. I want to make games. It's fun. I like it, and obviously, I'm hoping to build a business. Doing it is what I'm hoping. So we'll see how successful we are, right? All right, so that's done, and let's just make sure building tile scale, meters, token size. All right, did everything I asked it to do. So now I'm just going to go into each of these settlements, and I'm going to make sure that everything is set up correctly. Okay, or if I want to move things around. Oh, look, see, look, these are the people. So now I'm going to move them all into the hall, the chieftain's hall. You don't have to do that, but I like to do that. So I'm going to highlight all these people. Put all the following people in the chieftain's hall. So make sure it's called chieftain's hall. Yes. So it's going to move all of them in there, but so now they are no longer in the city. See, they moved there. All right. Let me max. See, now I can maximize these, and it's cool. There's some cool stuff I can do with this. I guess I'll show it, but like you can pin things. So like I can have a map of a place. Let me just move this a little bit, and let me change this too. So this is 2. Wait, this is the right thing, right? Yeah. Okay. So 2. Also, just going to make it smaller, even though it's not going to really do anything, but you're not going to go inside. You don't go inside an entrance anyway, but just in case, I just make it smaller. Okay. These things are popping up because I'm like generating images, and when the images get generated, it kind of pops up. So, all right, I did a pretty good job with the layout. I'm just going to put the entrance here, and I'm going to put the watchtower near the entrance. I don't know, I just do that because just for like kind of roleplay purposes, really. You don't have to do that. Okay, so I didn't put the river in here. So I need to, I didn't create a river part to go in here, which I need to do. I also didn't set up this either, so this, I need to set this up too. So let me just take a look at this. Okay, so what is it? Is this the river? That's the river. Why is the river so big? Jeez. How big is that river? It's 10 width. Is it supposed to be that big? Let me see. I guess it is kind of that big. Yeah, alright. So then that means it's going to be depending on. So I need to create 2 river parts in here. I need to create this. And you can see these windows are popping on top of the map. And I can also pin them if I want to keep windows. So like all this black space on the side, I could put other windows there that I want, like local targets, characters, the narrative log, or whatever. And I could pin them too. And you can minimize them, you can pin them. I could minimize them and pin them, so I can minimize it and pin it, and I could stick it here. And, oops, just grab it. I'm not grabbing it. There we go. And I can put it over here, and it won't move. See, like, no matter what I click on, the other things are moving because they're not pinned. This doesn't move. And I can keep it like this if I want to. Like I want information about something, whatever it is I want to do, and I can pin whatever I want all over here. And because I maximize this map, it's always in the background. So that's a really cool thing you can do. You can maximize something and do that. So just back to what I was doing here. I'm just going to make this bigger because it is a important building, but otherwise I also keep it 3 size because it's meant to be like at the center building. It's like the most important building. Well, it's where the family lives and the Lord. So, oh, there's a barracks too. Right. So I like to put the barracks also near the entrance. So I'm just going to put that near. Yeah. Sometimes what happens is the window gets weird, so you just close it and then open it up again, and that'll fix it. So let's do that. Okay, and now I can move it. So There we go. Oh, it's got a road. I need to do something with that. I like to make the roads, again, you don't have to do this, but I like to make the roads colored blocks, colored zones. So make brown colored zone. And brown just because it's a road. You don't have to make it brown. I just do that. You can also change the colors of the background as well if you want to. So like here is color. I could change the color and do whatever I want to do. So yeah. That's too bright. I don't want it to be. Alright, there we go. Excellent. Alright, so the color's good. And yeah, sometimes when things are refreshing or it's generating images and stuff, it might get a little messy with like, because it's got to like refresh the maps and stuff, and it kind of there's a little bit of an interaction there, so you might have to refresh again. Or it's not a big deal though. So this is a road, so I don't want this to be a building. This is a road, and with this, when it's a colored block like this, whatever size I make it is what size it will be. So I want to make sure this goes to the whole map, and I'm going to say it's going to be 4 wide. Okay, there we go. Now, and I'm going to run it right down the center, and city markets here. Put this off to the side a little bit. Weaver huts over here. City wells over near there. Pastures over here. Okay, there we go. I'm done with this city. And all of these things are locations that you could visit. You can go in them. There could be people in them. You could talk to a blacksmith who will become a real person and will live a life and do things, make things, whatever. Let me just change this to entrance. And there, bam. This place is now done. So I can... Oh no, wait, it's not done. What am I talking about? I need to put the rivers in there. I forgot about that. So back to what I was doing. I got to put the rivers in here. And again, I just like to do this because I have OCD. I like the geography to be exact match and this and that. I mean, technically, you don't really have to do that, but I like to do it. And also, it does have gameplay impact because, like, if you have a river, you can't just walk across the river. You need to either ford the river or get a boat or something. So armies and stuff might get stopped by rivers. They might have to look for a bridge, or they might have to ford the river. So there's actually real gameplay elements for geography, and you can make it impassable. You can make it have environmental effects. Like it could be a poisonous river, and if you go in it, you get poisoned. There's all kinds of cool things you can do, depending on what you want to do. So create a part of the Uria River and the Uria, I think it's called a tributary, right? Uria River tributary and it needs to go in both of these places. So it needs to go in Valheimer, and also in, it needs to go, and I can just copy and paste the name, so I don't have to type it. Damn. Alright, now it's going to create the rivers, and then I can set it up and put the shipyards on the rivers and things like that. I have to kind of decide where well, I guess I'm going to put the main city on both rivers since I decided to put both rivers in there. Okay. Here's the river. I can't really see it because it's blue, but whatever. The width is going to be, you don't need to go crazy with the width because it doesn't have to be the full city. So here we go, 4. And since I'm putting it on this side, I need to move this now somewhere else, because over here or something. And I'm going to move the shipyard over here, and I'm going to move the fishery over here. And again, it doesn't really matter if you do this or not. This is just me wanting it to be like that, and you might want it to be like that too for immersion, right? So width is going to be 40, and we'll make it also, make it like 3 or something. And I can just put the fishery up here, why not? And we'll make this road a little bit smaller because it should not go into the water, right? 37. I guess. No, not 37. That's weird. 39. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, this must be the river. Oh, because the other window popped up. All right. Where's the road? This is the road. Okay, there we go. And now I got it all set up the way I like it. Awesome. The river over here with the foundries and the development stuff over here. So, and okay, it's all done. Just need to generate an image for our palace, or not our palace, our chieftain, our hall, chieftain's hall, and that's done. So now that's done. I just need to fix these roads. The tributary was it straight to the top? It's not. Wait, it's not. It's not. Well, it could be straight to the top of the city. I just got to set it right. Okay. So this is going to be a width of 10, I guess. And this is going to be a height of, what was it, 15? I don't remember. No, it's more than 15. So this is taking up a lot of space, actually. 20, nope, 22. Okay. And this is not, this is going to be about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. Here. Okay, that's being annoying. Hold on, let's open that again. Alright. 6 down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 6 here. Alright, and now I'm just gonna put, so then this will go down here somewhere, this will go up here on both, this will be like it's on both rivers, so there you go. And this will go over here somewhere. Oh wait, is this on the river too? If you are like in the, oh, it's got fishing and stuff, so we'll just put it on the river, why not? And this one is also on the river, or? Yes, it is on the river, so we'll put this on the river, yeah. Oh, we'll put it on the other side, why not? There we go. Got a cool little area here. And I'm just gonna, I don't need this open anymore, so just go in here. Finish setting this place up. Yeah, because the windows pop up on top of each other and such, which is a little bit annoying. Move these up a bit. And there we go. Again, I just do this because I like to. It doesn't really matter because you can't go, I don't think, you don't really go inside an entrance anyway, so it's fine. Alright, that's all set up. And last is this one, which oh wait, I need to put the river in there too. Alright, so create a part of the Uria River tributary in Skaldheim Village, and create a part of the Pure Guard no, of the River in. Alright, and then I can set the river. So this is going to be on the bottom actually, so I'll put the entrance to the side. So let's move this to here. There's no actual, don't have any infrastructure here for so it's just a little bit of the river at the bottom. I'll just make it 2 because it looks better. There we go. And here, this one I think probably does have a fishery, right? It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't have a fishery. Oh, whatever. And we'll just also make this small, so this will have a width of 2 and a height of 15. I'm going to put this over here. Put the put the entrance over here or something. Okay, that's done. So that's all set up now. So this faction is pretty much done, I guess. Let me just check. So I'm going to generate an image for the faction itself, for their seal. Population's good. All their people are fine. I feel like I want to give them a little bit more people. So set the population of just make it 130,000. So they'll have exactly 150, I guess. Okay, that'll fix that. And this is a river. Okay, it's all done. Wait, I need to make sure this is what? That's wrong. Set the population of Oppenheimer City, which is a location, to 130,000. 40% are workers. I guess because it messed up the demographics. All right. I need to fix this because I messed up the demographics for It's a pain to write the names of these because they're weird. They're not weird, but I mean like they're not spelled. They're spelled a little strange, so I have to kind of like look. Not strange, but not really English, right? Oh, there was only 3. So you need 100% human, and the same human, not 2 different human. And make sure workforce is 40% of the population. So 130,000 in the city and 10,000 in each village. So that should fix it. Let's just make sure. Okay, good. That fixed it. Excellent. So that's done. So they are pretty much done. Let me just make sure they have the right amount of power. These are their units. These are the only units they can recruit currently. Well, they shouldn't be able to recruit warmate. I might have to update the unit. Make sure that it also war mage. Because I didn't set it to require a technology. It definitely should require a technology also. Because they should not already be able to build it just because we have an academy. So this is going to require a tech advanced. Not Basic arcane studies we want. Is there advanced arcane studies? There is something else. What unlocks them? What unlocks the... There should be another type. I'm missing it. I must have missed it. This is all stuff I set up, by the way. This is all the units, the tech tree, which turns into that cool-looking research tree. The infrastructure units items. I'll probably do videos for each